And then in addition to that, joining us now right here to open up the program is the great Senator Marsha Blackburn from the great state of Tennessee. Senator Blackburn, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us here on Breitbart News Saturday.
I am delighted to join you as always. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
okay. So on Tuesday, upcoming is a major choice that's going to affect the whole country for years to come in the great state of Georgia. Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are facing radical Democrats John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. Tell us the importance of this race on Tuesday.
Well, you cannot overstate the importance of this. We are at a crossroads in this country. And of course, you've got those on the left, and they're led by Pelosi and Schumer and Bernie and AOC, and they're trying to push us onto a socialistic path. And as Chuck Schumer has said, they're using Georgia to do this. And these runoffs in Georgia, they are out there pushing to make states out of D.C. and Puerto Rico, give voting rights to felons, take away your health insurance you get from your employer or Medicare that goes to 57 million Americans and put everybody into Medicaid and have the federal government in charge of it. They're going to take away the Trump tax cuts that have been such a blessing to those in Georgia. You look at how business has grown in Georgia, and you say, why would anybody want to get rid of this? Well, those that want to keep you out of work and locked in your house and kids out of school, that is their goal. Take those tax cuts away. They also want to begin implementing the Green New Deal and run up the cost of electricity, make it more difficult for people to actually use efficiency to heat and cool their home and in automobiles. They want to just completely ban fracking and ban oil products. And along the way, Matt, they would be banning hamburgers because they want to ban cattle. So there you go. This is their version of things. They don't want you making your decisions. They want government making decisions for you and telling you what you can do, where you can live, where you can work, where you can get an education, what you're going to do for a job. They want to be the decision maker and tell you how to live your life.
So one of the things that if the Democrats take control of the Senate, that would happen is it's not just that they would control the floor of the Senate, they would also control the committees. And can you explain how important this is? Because you're a senator, you know this. If the Democrats control the committees, they get the gavels. Then what does that mean for in terms of oversight, in terms of having hearings, in terms of the legislative agenda of the Senate? Because it's not just
Well,
about the floor of the Senate.
Right. People that want to preserve President Trump's agenda need to go vote for Kelly and David because, as you said, if the Democrats win, they control the gavels, which controls the agenda in the committees. If they control those committees, there's not going to be any oversight on election fraud. There is not going to, you'll never hear another word about Hunter Biden and his scandals. You're not going to hear anything about what happened with Ukraine. You're not going to hear about some of this participation between the Biden family, Biden Incorporated, and China. All of that will be swept under the rug. You're never going to get an answer and complete the investigation of what happened in 2016 with the elections there. So all of these are reasons you want to make certain that we win these seats in Georgia.
Right. So now let's go down the list of each of these two Democrats. Let's start with Raphael Warnock. He is some of these videos that have come out of some of the really wild and crazy things he said are just absolutely unbelievable. He's there's all sorts of different comments he's made about things like you can't serve God and the military at the same time. There's radical things like he's praised Reverend Wright's God damn America speech. He hosted apparently, or a church that he was working with hosted Fidel Castro, literally Fidel Castro, communist dictator. Um, there's also all sorts of personal problems in his life. He refused to denounce Marxism when given the opportunity by Senator Loeffler in a debate. What are your thoughts on Raphael Warnock? I mean, this guy is just so radical. It's so radical for Georgia.
Well, Raphael Warnock and Ossoff each are the two most radical candidates the Democrats have ever put up for the U.S. Senate. And I've got a lot of friends in Georgia, and I'm having them all go vote for Kelly and David. I can't imagine that Georgia would send somebody this radical to represent them in the U.S. Senate. You know, that's just, it's hard to believe that they would choose someone that radical to represent them. But as you said, he has called police thugs. He has said you can't serve in the military, and you, at the same time, you're not going to be able to serve God. And when you look at what he has said and what he has espoused, and the book he wrote, he praises Marxism. And you're exactly right, Matt. When Senator Loeffler gave him the opportunity to denounce Marxism, he skirted the issue and wouldn't give an answer. Now, do Georgians really want someone who is in favor of Marxism representing them? He would be the first Marxist, openly Marxist senator that we have ever had in the country.
Now, with regard to Ossoff, so he is somebody who, with this documentary film company that he was doing, has deep ties to the Chinese Communist Party. He tried to cover those ties up and then later revealed them when he got caught not revealing these oversight documents as part of his disclosures. So you're somebody who's done a lot of work exposing the Chinese Communist Party. Now, we've learned in recent weeks that the CCP has targeted young upstarting Democrat public officials. Like, we know what happened with Eric Swalwell now, and we know about it 5 years later. He was asked about this on Fox News the other day, and he dodged all sorts of questions about it. I'm curious what your thoughts are with regard to this, because it does seem like this could be another Swalwell type situation where the CCP's kind of got him in their grasps, and this is a particularly troubling revelations about him.
Well, you're right. It's troubling. My goodness. He didn't say he had worked with the Chinese company that is primarily owned by the Chinese Communist Party. He didn't admit to making any money. Then after the Democrat primary is over, he goes in to amend his filing and put on there that he had worked with this Chinese company that we then find out is owned in large part by the Chinese Communist Party. So then he was asked why he didn't disclose it, and it was an oversight. Then he came back and he said, well, you know, if you make more than $5,000, you're supposed to disclose, but my payment did not reach that threshold. So then it became an issue of, okay, if you were doing this work, but you weren't paid any more than $5,000 to produce this film, are you working as a nonprofit? Are you working as a for-profit? What was your participation with this company, and who was paying all the production costs for you to make this documentary?
Mm-hmm. So now, Senator, the kind of getting back to the bigger issue of control of the Senate. I don't know if you saw this over the weekend. Apparently, Nancy Pelosi and the House Democrats have banned terms like mother, daughter, father, son, anything that is like gender specific terminology from the House rules. Like, you're not allowed to say that on the floor of the House anymore. GOP leader Kevin McCarthy on the House side came out and says this is stupid, signed a father, son, and brother. He's a father, he's a son, and he's a brother. On his Twitter in response to it. But here's the thing: if the Democrats take control of the Senate, this is the kind of thing they would do in the U.S. Senate. They would ban terms like, they would push things down this radical agenda. I mean, how can we not use the term mother or daughter or anything that has like a gender focus on it? It's not. It shouldn't be offensive to use terminology like that.
Not at all. My mother is 96 years old, and I am grateful every single day that I have her. My dad died 8 years ago, and I miss him every single day. They are my parents. I have a brother. I have a sister. I have a daughter. I have a son. So this is something that, these are facts of life, if you will, and you are not going to change that. And this political correctness of saying we can't use a gender-specific term, we cannot honor our men and women, our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers, and refer to them and the lessons they have taught us when we are speaking on the floor of the House or the Senate. This is absurd and ridiculous. And if the Democrats win these 2 seats in Georgia, you are going to see gender specificity eliminated, completely eliminated.
And they would literally use this to ban words like that because it doesn't fit their woke leftist terminology, rewriting of our dictionary. I just find it so absolutely absurd and unbelievable. The other thing that would happen here is, assuming Biden gets in there, and we'll see what happens this week. We're watching on Tuesday or Wednesday what happens in Congress. But assuming that Biden gets in there, his nominees will be able to sail through. So any kind of oversight of the various people that he's putting forward to be cabinet officials will go by the wayside, because the Democrat Senate would just, if it was a Democrat Senate, would just rubber stamp everybody and just put them all in, no matter if they've got ties to the CCP, no matter if they've got corruption in their backgrounds, whereas a Republican-controlled Senate can actually hold several of these people accountable and maybe get some answers from some of them, or even hold up ones that are unqualified.
Yes, you're right about that. And that is called checks and balances. And what do people say they like? Checks and balances. But the Democrats have told you if they win the Senate, they are going to push the Republicans aside because, why? They don't want to have to deal with us. In other words, they want to run the tables. They don't want to have any participation with Republicans because they want to push this leftist agenda. And, Matt, I think a lot of it is they have never accepted the outcome of the elections in 2016. They thought Hillary was going to win, and they were going to be able to have their liberal utopia. And that's not what happened. And so since they never really accepted those elections in 2016, since they've continued every single day of Donald Trump's term to call him illegitimate and the elections illegitimate, then what they're trying to do is win it all. As Schumer said, we're going to take Georgia, not win it, not fight for it, but they're going to take it. And then they're going to change America. And that, to me, is a very frightening thought. I was talking to a gentleman the other night. He has 2 children that are in their 30s. He is 62, just had his 62nd birthday. and very involved in his community, runs a small business. Um, he said, for the first time in my life, I am really fearful of what is going to happen in this country. He said, I just am very fearful based on what happened during the election, what happened with big tech and big media and trying to hide the Hunter Biden story and what they say they're going to do if they win. And this guy is not a Republican. He's not somebody who has, I doubt he's ever been to a Republican Party event in his life. But he is a good, hardworking small business owner who is active in his community. And he said, I really fear for what they would do and the changes they would make, and if we would ever be able to pull ourselves back from the brink. And I got to tell you, I think a lot of people feel that way, and it's why they are watching Georgia so carefully, and it's why we've got so many Tennesseans over in Georgia knocking on doors trying to turn out that vote.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Senator. I think this is everything's on the line here. Senator Bush of Blackburn, Happy New Year. And I really want to thank you for joining us here on Breitbart News Saturday. And where can people go to learn more about you?
MarshaBlackburn.com.
All right, Senator. Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us again.